Welcome back, everyone. I got another fun video today. We're finally getting back to working on the Tasks of Affirmation application on stream. I took a break from it for a few months because I kind of got burnt out on it, but after the new year, I was excited to get back. So we brought it back today, and what we decided to look at was the latest Composed Material 3 Alpha, which comes with the initial support for adding a date picker. So we added this date picker that now has material theming, or dynamic theming rather, which the application didn't support previously. I do want to give a disclaimer that I mentioned several times throughout the stream, though, that this is an alpha, and the release notes even say that this is likely to change. The API for the date picker is likely to change. But I still hope it's interesting. Maybe it won't change too much, and it gives you an interesting taste of what to come. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments what you think. So yeah, this is super weird that this was failing because we're not. I haven't changed anything that I didn't already have on Friday when this was working. I was chasing down one error, but that wasn't it. So what I'm going to do real quick is we're just going to do a quick git reset here, and we're going to try to run this again and try to figure out an error. That's how we're going to start the stream. But ideally, once it's working, we're going to work on the task management app again today. So something we did on Friday's day stream is we spent a little bit of time looking at the new date picker API for Compose Material 3, which is in alpha right now. And they even say it's likely to change, but I was still excited to get ahead of it and try it out. There is a pull request up if you want to see what we were able to do so far, although I wouldn't bother looking at it because all this PR really is up to this point is all the version updates we had to make after not touching this project for months, and then getting them to compile. And then for some reason, out of nowhere, it decides it doesn't want to compile anymore. So let's see if we can figure out why it can't compile. So when I'm trying to run it, I'm getting this could not find Protoc 3.1.3.14 OSX Arch blah blah dependency. And so I did some search around to figure out where that was pulling from, and it's this. And this is related to the setup for Data Store, which uses like proto buffers and stuff. Data Store is the new, basically the new version of shared preferences on Android. So I'm actually curious if maybe this setup is a little bit out of date. So that's where we're starting, and so that's where I'm going to start my Googling, is I'm going to look up Data Store setup Android. And let's see if there's like maybe a new version. Let's look at what data store preferences. Wait, am I not using data store? I am. Okay. We reference versions.datastore, which is 1.0. Okay, all that's fine. Um, what is this protocol dependency though that we set up? Data store protobuf Android. Proto data store. We followed this code lab. I wonder if another way I can do this is if I just search this dependency, I could probably find like the Maven repo for it. We can. And we can see there's been some recent updates. So let's just try starting here. Let's try and take this to 3.21.12, which may or may not break everything else, but we'll start there and we'll see if this fixes it. Because I just want to get the app in a running state. And once we've done that, we can go back and look at the dialogue or the day picker stuff. So another reason I wanted to do this stream the way that we did it is on Friday I got started on this, spent about an hour literally just dealing with version updates. And so now what I'm thinking is instead we'll start with a compiling app, which we actually have. If we look at running devices, oops, I need to enable device mirroring. That would have been helpful. but now we've got a running app. And so now we can actually maybe revisit this day picker stuff sort of as if we looked at it from scratch. Um, which is not entirely from scratch, but let's start from scratch again and we'll work through it. So let's go ahead and commit this really quick and say that we're upgrading proto buff version, which should now get us in a building state. Oof, I don't have this set up right, do I? I don't know if this will just work though. I'm definitely can commit from the command line if I don't have it set up right in IntelliJ. Which, by the way, I'm using a brand new laptop today. So hopefully our builds are faster today, because we're no longer running on one of those old Intel Macs, but this is in fact one of the brand new MacBook Pros with the M2 Max chip in it. So this thing is lightning fast. I tested out the Pocket League app that you sometimes see me working on, which is this Kotlin multi-platform project with like a dozen different modules, and I ran a clean build, and it took 44 seconds, and I was shook. um, okay, this is yelling at me because of a long function, which is fine. So let's better CPUs are important indeed. Okay, so let's talk about the date picker. So let's look at some of the compose code specifically over here. Also, downfall of a new IDE. We should increase the font size. Wait, is there a faster way? I don't know. Let's go all the way up to 20. All right. Y'all can read this. Okay. So let's work backwards on this. So with the Compose Material 3 Alpha, we got this new composable for a date picker, which consumes a date picker state. We use this to both set and pull whatever the value of the selected date is. So just to show you that up here, we do remember date picker state, where the initial date, selected date millis, we take like the value that's passed in for the local date, and then we convert to epoch millis. And so that's our initial date. And then later we reference when a date's been changed by the date picker, we can get that updated value. And then it has a couple optional properties, but one that we overridden was the state validator, where I'm basically, this is cool. This normally consumes like an error state for our date input, but we could actually get rid of that because we could set a date validator and say a date's only valid if it's greater than or equal to the current time. Which I realize this is actually not great because this is not going to include like today. This was a bug that we had, so we'll look at that. But one of the reasons I brought this up is because this date picker composable that they gave us, it's just the date picker part. And it doesn't automatically render inside like a dialog, which traditionally date pickers kind of work that way. So what we ended up doing is keeping a separate value for whether or not we should show this date picker dialog. And if it's true, then we render a dialog with a surface inside of it. And then that's just to get like the background we want. I actually don't know if I need the surface property. I think I do if I want to not have a transparent dialog. And then we showed the date picker, and then we added some text buttons like cancel and done. And then there was other stuff here like from the old date picker flow to show the input field, which I'll show you in a second. Now that I've walked through the code, let's look at what this looks like. So this little rounded text field looking thing here, this is what our TOA date picker composable renders. And when you click on it, this will then pop up this dialog that we talked about. And you notice, like I said, I have some bugs here. Weirdly enough, I can't select the 26th either, so we'll have to deal with our... we'll have to play around with that date picker validator thing. And yeah. And then it looks like this must come with a bunch of extra padding because this cancel and done button are so far down. I don't know if that's because different months they could take up like an extra row or something. Um, Even then, that seems kind of off, but yeah, this is what we get, which is pretty cool, and we can clean up these buttons um, as well. So that's kind of where we're starting today. So what I think I want to do is run with this idea, but as I mentioned when I tried to push some code earlier, my push failed. You may not have seen the error dialog in the bottom right, actually, because it would have been behind my webcam. But this is failing one of my static analysis checks because this function is way too long. I have some checks in that don't allow me to write functions. I want to say the limit is like 60 lines, which is already pretty large, but that's the detect default. Um, that stuff just shouldn't be that big. So let's revisit this. Even though I showed you that it's kind of working from this view, let's maybe revisit this from the bottom up. Okay, and we can go ahead and do all of that in this same file. Actually, um, let's get rid of my preview functions. Um, and let's write some stuff down here. So, like this error message, this could probably go away. Let's not worry about getting rid of it just yet, though. Um, but let's piece this together, like I said, again from the bottom up. So why don't we, um, let's do the button row, for example. So let's do a private composable. Do I have that? I don't. Um, and we'll call it, date picker button row. And we'll make this private. And then we'll have this have like a on cancel clicked callback and an on done clicked callback. And I'm going to go way up here where we had our own button row, and I'm just going to copy this really quick. Uh, we'll clean this up in a sec. Hold on. So on cancel clicked, we'll do show date picker dot value equals false, and then on done clicked, we'll do show date picker dot value equals false. But then also, shoot, I'm going to copy this part. Uh, when done is clicked, we're going to hide the date picker, but then also, if our date picker state exists, then we're going to call on value changed of our date picker. So that's what this button row is doing. Um, that all looks good to me. So let's go into the button row and let's paste that UI code from before. But here we'll do on cancel clicked, and then when this one is called, we'll do on done clicked. No more time for Rubik's Cube. It builds so fast. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I have actually haven't used that channel point redemption in a while. I think I have it turned off, but why don't we could turn that back on? Um, I haven't done a Rubik's Cube in so long though. Uh, but I could turn that back on. Give me one sec. Do I have a timeout set on this though? I hope so. Okay, yeah, we do have a cooldown. Oh, I also got rid of this code review one. I thought I left that in there. All right, channel points should be updated. The people want it. I'm sure they want to witness me fail. Okay, so this is our button row. Let's run this again to just make sure this looks good. And actually, while we're doing this, I'm going to look into an interesting question, which is typically I would want these buttons here, these cancel and done buttons. Traditionally on dialogues, they are on the right-hand side, right? So how do we do that? Well, I think there's a couple ways. Maybe there's what I want to see is on a row. Um, huh. Okay, I can do this. I can do horizontal arrangement. I think I could do arrangement dot end. And I think that will do it. Let's find out. Semper Fides, welcome to the chat. I started to learn Java. Any tips on how to progress faster? Doing tutorials right now, but not able to code by myself yet. And thank you for the follow. Great question. I'm going to give the vague kind of cliche answer, but like just keep practicing as much as you can. Um, Tutorials are great. You said not able to code by yourself yet. Um, you may not be able to make some large full scale application with it, but the sooner you pick a project you want to build and you try to make that happen, I think that's when you're going to progress faster. I think it's really helpful when people have like that intrinsic motivation, right? Instead of sort of following along with this tutorial where you're building what the author says you should build, if you go with your own idea, like, oh, I want to build this thing that does this, like starting there is really helpful. And then because it's your own thing, you'll come up with your own questions of like, okay, well, how do I do this specific thing? And then you go down that rabbit hole and over time, as you try to build this application you want to build, you'll naturally run into a lot of real world scenarios and learn from that, and that will kind of snowball. Um, you'll start to see patterns in the things you learn. You'll start to know what works and what doesn't when you're Googling for solutions. Again, that intrinsic motivation also helps you retain stuff better. That's my personal opinion. I will also admit, I'm kind of projecting my learning style here. Other people, they prefer to keep doing these like guided tutorials, and that's totally fine. But that's sort of my personal advice on how I've progressed is focusing on like what do I want to build and starting there, and then kind of working backwards into how to make that happen. Because I'm very like intrinsically motivated in that way around like I'm more motivated when I am the one who's like decided what I'm going to build, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, I mean, the only way to really progress at anything is to keep practicing it. And so I think these tutorials will help you. And then when you're ready to jump off into your own thing, that'll help you even more too. Okay, so let's see, what were we checking? We were checking if horizontal arrangement for end. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have follow-up questions. Works. And it didn't, but I also think that's because this row is wrap content size. So what if we do fill max width? Let's see what this gives us. Okay, that looks good. There's still. Is this part of the TOA YouTube series? It will. It will be. So I haven't posted to that YouTube series in a long time. Also, because we haven't worked on TOA in a long time. But I am recording this, and so I do plan to upload this. I also still need to do my 2,000 subscriber video because we hit 2,000 subs on YouTube, which is absolutely insane. And we're also nearing 1,000 followers on Twitch. Let's see where we're at right now. 986. So we're hitting some milestones. You came from that series? Oh, that's amazing. Well, thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. Yeah, I got kind of burnt out on this, and so it's been a while. Yeah. Hi, Swoop. Do you have a preview for this row, or do you prefer deploying to a device emulator? I like previews. I have not written one yet for this, but it's definitely something we could do. Uh, I find that like this project's kind of small enough that running to an emulator isn't that much slower than a preview. In fact, sometimes it can feel a little faster. Um, Aw. Means says, I really think that I have never learned so much and gained so much quality in coding as I have since I started watching Adam's streams. That's so kind. That's like the best compliment. Um, Aw, you all are way too nice to me. I don't deserve that kind of compliment. Um, all right, where were we? We could definitely make a preview, which is probably a good idea. But with that, actually, is so um, Sensei Adam. Uh, is with what I'm trying to do by splitting up some of this code is because the composable we're looking at right here, encapsulates both this dialogue and this rounded text field. And I really feel like these deserve to be split up. So, what I mean by that is we should actually make a new file here. Uh, we can call this, let's rename this to TOA date picker input. Yo, Prince with the 5 gifted subs. I recently changed my alert, so I had no idea what that sound was at first. Amazing. Thank you so much. You are way too kind. You're way too kind. Um, we're going to rename this to TOA date picker input. I'm going to do the same thing with the function itself. But then let's also make a different TOA date picker dialog composable. TOA date picker dialog. And am I using electric eel? This is giraffe, actually. We're using, let me make sure I'm not crazy. Yes, we're using the latest canary of giraffe, and this is also using the experimental UI from JetBrains. So we're using the most bleeding edge IDE and the most bleeding edge Material 3 dependency. Like we're just expecting stuff to break today, but so far so good. Had a couple dependency issues at the start, but largely good. So let's go to this input file here. Let's steal all of this. I'm going to copy everything that's in this if statement here, and then we're going to just here we'll call over to our TOA date picker dialog. And okay, we've got a couple things that are missing here. So why don't we have this consume a date picker state? And I do think, why are you yelling at me? Oh, you're experimental? Um, let's see. Uh, yeah, yeah, we'll have this consume the date picker state. And let's do something like this. So we'll have an on dismiss callback on this, and then we can also have a like on complete callback, which would take the long. This would be like the selected time. Do I do it that way? I think that makes sense. Um, yeah. So on dismiss request, we'll pass in on dismiss. Um, oh, we're gonna have to move this over real quick. Let's steal this private function from the other file, and let's bring this over here. Um, and then, okay, when we hit cancel, we'll also call on dismiss. And then when we're done, we'll do on complete uh, date picker state dot selected date millis. Problem is selected date millis is nullable, but I guess we could just do this. Um, that's probably best. Okay, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. Um, so back to our input here. Then where we do this, we'll do date picker state. What am I missing here? Oh, the callbacks. So on dismiss, we'll do show date picker dot value equals false, and then on complete. So we'll say show date picker dot value equals false, and then select the date millions dot let um, on value changed dot invoke t dot to local date. Or I think another way we could do this is if select the date millions is not equal to null, we'll do on value changed with select the date millis, not to local date. Um, okay, and then what we can do then, because someone, part of the reason I extracted all this out is because someone asked about doing a preview. So we could do something like, do I have, oh, I don't have my, ah, I don't have my fancy um, live templates. That's what they're called, live templates on this computer yet. Um, but as y'all have seen, I do these like really cool. Let me clean some of these up. Preview methods here that am I? Oh, let's do this. Hold on. To a date picker dialog. So it works. These previews are cool because I can set the UI mode on each of them, so I can see both the night and day mode previews of something. So then what we're going to do here is we're just going to do. Um, I think we can do. Let's throw in our theme, TOA theme, and then let's do. What are we doing here? I have some live templates for multi previews. Yes, I can show you how to make those previews in a moment, or those live templates in a moment. Give me 1 second. And then we'll do TOA day picker dialog. Day picker state, we'll just do remember day picker state. Um, on dismiss, we'll do nothing. On complete, we'll do nothing because these are previews, so it's fine. We'll opt in for this function. Okay, now if we do split and we do a build and refresh, let's see how this preview looks. There we go. That's what our dialogue would look like. All the way down to even highlighting which days are inaccessible to us, which is pretty cool. Um, so the live templates, yeah, let's talk about that really quick. So if we go to, I want to remember the package because it's relevant. So let me show y'all what I mean here. So let's go into, if we do, no, I don't want to insert live template. Live templates and preferences. I'm going to pull this over here. So here's all of the live templates. If you don't know what a live template is, you probably do. You probably use them all the time, but maybe don't know what they're called. It's when you start typing something and then autocomplete allows you to fill in a block of code. So Compose has some of these like comp to create a composable function. So what that's going to do, hide this really quick, is if I go in here and type comp, we can see autocomplete suggesting this. When I hit enter, I'm going to get this live template filled in for us. It was meant to be wholesome because the whole point of this app is to like be a sort of gentle reminder of task management and not be like overbearing, heavy responsibility thing. But we have really focused on that aspect of it today. But that wasn't a typo. That is what I meant, and that's why. But we haven't really focused on that aspect today. So anyways, we'll go back to live templates, and then we can make our own new ones here. So we can just do a little plus live template, and we can fill in everything. So we can do like at, preview, and then we can do name equals night mode. UI mode would be configuration dot UI mode night. Yes. I will have to fix this in a second because we need to put the full path of the package here, which also this is really small. Let's beef this up. Can I do that? I guess this is pretty close. We will want to put the whole package here, but because I don't have that right away, we'll just come back to this in a second. But I want to say, I don't know, I'm not going to guess. But we'll put the two previews, and then we'll do at composable, and then we'll do private fun. We're going to put something here in a second. Preview. And then what we can do is put we could put the cool classification end, which means it's going to start once we enter this. Our cursor will end up here. But what we want to add is we want this to be our file name. Uh, and the way we can edit that is we can go to edit variables, file names, we can give it an expression. And there's a drop down here, which is like file name without extension. And we hit OK. And that should do it. We also need to specify these fully qualified paths really quick. So let's get those really quick. So for composable, it's androidx.compose.runtime. And for the configuration, oh, do I not need it? Maybe I don't. So let's go back to our live templates really quick. Um, so we'll just add this for composable. We can also make sure we have this check mark here for shorten FQ names. That stands for fully qualified names. So I specify the full import statement here, but the IDE is not going to show it. It's going to know to shrink that information. But then we also need to give it context, which here would be Kotlin. I think we could just select all of Kotlin. Anywhere in Kotlin, I can create this. So let's hit apply and let's hit OK. And then to show you an example, I can now start typing. I never gave it a name. That's a crucial step. Abbreviation. I call this day-night prev for like day-night preview. That's what you put in the thing. It'll say create a composable preview for day and night theme. Okay, so now I can start typing day-night prev. And look at that, I get everything. I'm allowed the chance to change what the preview name should be. And then when I hit enter, I'm in here. And this is only yelling at me because I have two of these. But that'll do it. And it auto filled the file name, but I could have just as easily been like data prep and then be like, oh, I want this test preview. And then I can do, preview code here. So that's it. That's how you add your own live template. So I love doing this for the day-night previews, and it just saves me a lot of time to generate stuff like this really quickly. So, with this preview, then let's play around with this a little more. So, sorry, give me one moment here. All right, need a quick button on my Stream Deck to hide my webcam when I gotta like sneeze or something. Okay, so let's figure out this issue. Let's figure out why this date validator isn't doing what we're thinking. So next step, make a day-night multi-preview annotation. Well, that's what these stacked previews do. Are you saying like make one annotation that ends up doing both of these? I guess you could, but doesn't bother me. So date validator, a lambda that takes a date timestamp and return true if the date is a valid one for selection. Invalid dates will appear disabled in the UI. Okay. I guess what we could do is we could keep track of like today's start in millis. Could be like local date. Nope, I don't want. Wait, is it Java time? Local date dot now dot two epoch millis. Oh, I wrote this myself. Okay, that makes sense. So we could do like today, um, the millisecond that today starts. And then what we could do is we could basically, we're returning if date millis is greater than or equal to today's start millis. Instead of using the system's current time, like, because not only do I want to detect a date in the future, yes, but I want to include today. So I need like the millis that today started, and as long as the date in the date picker is after that, we should be good. So let's refresh. Do I not have this right here? I guess I can do that. Oh, and that actually looks like that worked, because now I see the 26th is selectable. I want to run this on a device really quick, so I can make sure that it does include today. Let's test that really quick. Right, so this is weird. Can you compare dates directly in Kotlin? I think it depends on the library. This is using like the Java 8 datetime library, and it may be able to, but one of the reasons is this gives me milliseconds, um, which I don't have. So, or which is not like a date. I could like convert it to a date and then compare. Um, but this is a little bizarre because I can't select today's date. And it's also weird because when I select like January 28th, I'm getting back January 27th in the UI. So there's something funky going on about the date millis here. So, trying to think of what we could do here. We could add a log statement here and being like, um, let's do a log statement here. So, like, current date millis could be something like this. And then we could set, like, we could print something and be like, current time. Or, well, do I want to look at it that way? Um, I guess I kind of want to print this and being like, okay, um, I want to see what this looks like. Let's just print this out. This will probably give us like a whole month worth, a whole month's worth. Oh my god, that's a mouthful. An entire month's worth of logcat output. But with that, we can at least see maybe some helpful stuff. Yeah, it did. Okay. Um, but so this would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be like the 25th. Okay, so this is what I'm concerned about. So we're seeing 2228 blah blah, but then this is like, I think this is today's. Um, how many milliseconds are in a day? Does anyone know off the top of their head? Is it 840-ish thousand? Um, Hi Code Matrix, how are you? We're just dealing with some weird, like what I'm also wondering is maybe the date it's giving me is not. I guess I don't know if the date it's giving me is in my time zone or not. And if it's not, then that could be relevant. Um, so, did I recover quickly from being sick? I am feeling better. Thank you for asking. Um, when I convert a local date to the epoch millions, I'm actually like doing at zone system default, uh, which I don't want to change because I think I'd break a bunch of other stuff. But let's steal this really quick. Um, let's do this. Let's do local date dot now. And then let's do at zone. Let's do like UTC. Maybe we're getting something like that. Okay, so that is allowing me. Okay, this could be relevant. Okay, so now you may notice that I can select today's date now. I could not do that before. Um, but I still have the problem where when I select after the fact, I see the wrong date. And so I wonder if the reason for that is because the date picker is using UTC and not like the user's system time, which is entirely possible. So let's make a note. So we believe the date picker behind the scenes is using millis in UTC, not related, not connecting to the system time zone. So that means we have to do the same thing when we go the other way, which is in our date picker input, where we convert to a local date. Uh, we want to change this as well, and being like, um, selected local date would be of epoch milli, select the date millis, and then we'll do zone ID dot of UTC, and then we'll call this here. Let's find out. Let's see if this works. So, if this works right, we'll both be able to select the current date as well as when we select a date in the future, we see the right output. So, right now, this says January 25th. So, I open it. Interesting that this isn't auto selected, but we'll select the 28th here. Rican, thank you for the subscription. Let's go. Also, how are the alert sounds? Are those way too loud? I have no idea. They're kind of loud for me. Um, Let me know if they're too loud for chat, and I can try to plane them down. But now we see, okay, we do see that January 28th is here. It's kind of loud, but it's also kind of hype, so, I'll play around with the alerts in my Twitch settings after the stream. So actually, I realize the problem is the same thing here, where when I call two epoch millis, I'm using the current thing. So let's tweak this. Let's have this consume a zone ID. We got this default to like system default. Uh, but what I'll do is um, have this consume the zone ID. And we'll do the same thing for this one. Wait, do I really not use this anywhere else? Oh, I do. Maybe I don't. Oh, that needs to be updated. Alright, that's fine, that's fine. And then I might make some helpers here. Like, I could do like, I could make like a helper, right? That would do like, um, this, that. I can just make this like little helper function here. Let's do the same for this one. Gotta hydrate for Justin. Cheers. Let's do the same ID for this one. All right. To local date etc. Okay. So use that helper. So in our day picker dialog, we're gonna just tweak this and we'll do today start millis will be oh well I guess local date dot now dot to epoch millis etc. Um, and then that's fine. And then over here we're gonna do to epoch millis etc. And then here we're gonna do select the date millis to local date etc. That should fix all of our issues. Now it should function the way we expect. So let's test that out. We'll go over here, like to do a task. January 25th, already selected. Good start. Let's change it to the 28th. And we see, God darn it. Why did that fail? Okay. That still shows the 27th. Oh, because I didn't change this line to use the actual zone ID that I'm passing into the function. Classic. If your functions don't work, always check to make sure you're calling them correctly, because it's entirely possible that you spend all this time debugging the call site and not like the simplest part of are you passing in parameters correctly. Okay, so now 25th is selected. Great. I can go back to it. But if I select the 28th, then my text input also says the 28th. So this is looking good, looking functional. We love it. Let's go ahead and push this. We'll say fixing date validator on input dialog. I wonder. Hmm. Okay, this looks good. So, what do you think of the new UI? I like it. I like that it's less text heavy. I like the icons. Also, just realized it's like ever so slightly cut off for you guys. Let me see if I can live tweak the stream here. All right, that looks pretty good. Got like that little extra padding from the left side there. I like it. I like the icons. I like that it's less text heavy around the sides for sure. As someone who uses a lot of keyboard shortcuts, that doesn't bother me. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. So, okay. So, God, that's bright. Is there more to do with this? This is a good question. Well, we could do more code cleanup, actually. So, our dialogue, I think this is good. I think this is what we want, right? We've got our surface with the column, the day picker button row. I don't know if I love how, like, you can't see it from here. Classic. I don't know if I love how close together these two buttons are. Um, so I'm thinking of adding some spacing here. Like it could be the smallest amount, but we could do like spacer modifier equals modifier dot width. We could do like 8 dips. I know you can do arrangement dot spaced by, but I don't know. I guess I could, but because I'm using end arrangement, I don't know. I'd have to like override the spacing, I guess. But that's fine. We'll see how that looks. Um, Putting the spacer there is fine. So this dialog class looks good. Let's put a function here. So we'll say this is a dialog that will render a date picker and allow the user to select any date today or in the future. Um, yeah, that's good. This is most likely going to be triggered from within a TOA date picker input. And so let's go over to the input. So we'll say a custom text field looking composable that displays a date. Clicking on it will allow the user to select a new date by launching a TOA date picker dialog. And then, so we've got our value, which is like the current value of the date picker. When the value changes, modifier. Now, this is one. This border color, text color, icon color, and error message, we could actually probably get rid of all of these because now that the date picker dialog is doing the date picker validation, we don't have this concept of selecting a date in the past and having to render an error UI. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment these out first, but we're going to get rid of all those lines. So we'll still need show date picker state, but it has error. This goes away. Border color to use. This goes away and will be replaced with this. So let's get rid of border color to use, and we'll just hard code it here. Icon color to use. This goes away and gets replaced with this. So wherever icon color was used, we'll do this here. Error message, this goes away. Text color gets just replaced with this. And then we can delete all of those. So then we've got some unused functions here, like error message. This goes away. And I think that's good. Now, there was a call site for the date picker input that probably needs to be updated. I wonder if the AS team plans on modifying the new run widget to include a dropdown for the device to run on. I hope so. That is one of my biggest gripes with it, is that this run doesn't let me select the device. That is one of my big complaints. So I'd love to see that as well. The date picker input, this goes away. It's always enabled. We don't need that property either. Why would inputs be disabled here? Oh, you know what? We probably should allow you to disable this. Let's put a note in here. We can get rid of error message, but we should support disabling this input. One of the reasons we do that is like basically the only reason inputs would be disabled is if we are like in a submitting state, like when we're adding a task and validating it. We don't want you to change your inputs. So we should actually provide that enabled state, but we'll do that in a second. Yeah, that's a valid reason not to adopt this for sure. Okay. Oh. Oh no, I made it for tomorrow, right? Yeah, okay. So let's make a new one just for today. Let's make sure this works. Looks good. Okay. Um, so yeah, let's do the enabled state really quick. Um, this should have enabled Boolean true. So basically what we would do here is, huh. I actually don't know how I would change these to signify disabled. We'll put this in the future. Um, in the future, we will want to support a disabled state using the supplied enabled. I should make a. This is a task management app. You can do a exclamation point GitHub in chat if you want to see it. Um, the whole point is to be a wholesome task management app. I want something that's like easy to use, something that provides like words of encouragement, something that doesn't like surface all these incomplete tasks if you don't get through it and things like that, which is why like if you look at like an empty day, we say things like make time for yourself. I definitely want to spend a day going over this specific aspect on how to make it a little more kind and thoughtful, but that's kind of the goal behind why I wanted to build this. Something that's like just a little more friendly compared to a lot of traditional task management apps that like if you don't complete anything, all of a sudden you've got this like long red list of incomplete tasks and like it's a whole mess. I would also wouldn't mind changing this UI. I've thought about it and I hate this header personally, but it is what it is. It depends on the day. Some days I like it. Uh, yeah, those are the things. So also, we haven't updated our stream history file in forever. So let's add a new stream history here. Oh man, we're way behind. Um, so let's catch up on what we can at least. This will be stream. We'll call this 31. I don't know if this is true. Compose material 3 date picker. And so we'll say added a date picker dialog from the latest Compose Material 3 alpha. Um, PRs, we'll do this one. Um, and then YouTube coming soon. No, it kind of, sort of. Uh, the dialogue is, let me show you really quick. So we wrapped it in a dialogue ourselves, but the actual date picker composable, this thing that has uh, basically from select date down to here, all of this is in the new compose material 3 dependency for us. So we didn't write any of this stuff, but we did have to wrap it in a dialogue ourselves. Um, let's throw in a resources section here, and then like what we can do is compose material 3. Can I link to this? I can link to this. One dot. What is it? One dot. One dot oh. There. Yeah. So sorry, you can't see it because my picture. Um, so the input only has this stuff. I had to add the button row as well. They do say very explicitly in this document this API is still undergoing changes. I have no idea what those changes are. I don't work at Google. I can't speculate. However, I find it entirely plausible that they will build a dialogue component that has the external buttons and everything for us. Uh, I would not be surprised if they built that, but this is like super bleeding edge, so it's just not there yet. Um, but I do find it entirely possible that I will be able to go rip out that customization in the future. Um, okay, and so updating stream info. And we should be able to push without any issues. And if that's the case, we'll see what GitHub says. Nice. All right, so this is looking good. Yeah, we have a whole slew of dependencies that are out of date in this project. Um, And it's after 8, so we can look at something else. I don't know if there's other date picker stuff we want to look at the start here, or we can work on something else, or maybe we update some dependencies and call it a night. I'm open to anything here. I do want to look at, let's go back to this date picker input class really quick. Maybe we actually do add the disabled state to this before we're done. Um, I want to see what else we can customize right now. Um, there is a date formatter, which is cool. That never happens. Yeah, I wish. So, like this up here, you can customize how the date is rendered here, which is pretty cool. Um, you can customize the title uh, and the headline as well, um, in colors. So you can customize a decent amount about this. Um, I love this date validator parameter. I love it because it makes things like what I did of um, words. It makes things like this, like selecting a date now or in the future, very easy to handle, or any other customization you can make. So, in the official documentation that exists for this, um, uh, where is it at? I'll find it. I'll tell you. I may as well find it and then tell you what it is. Um, if I go to like components, date pickers. Did you learn Java before Kotlin? I did personally, yeah. Well, it's not that Kotlin didn't exist, but when I was in college, I had to take Java as part of my core curriculum for my degree. And at the time, that's what Android was built with. It wasn't until a few years later that Kotlin was introduced, and I learned it. I actually learned it really early before it was like officially supported because I thought the language looked really cool and was a lot of fun. So I was like a little ahead of the curve before the entire community moved over to Kotlin, but I'm a big fan. So if we look at this one of their examples, which I don't know why I had to go through this and why I couldn't just say it, but what's kind of cool is like they did this like they used the date in millis. Oh, and even here they specify it's UTC, but then they use that to like block Saturdays and Sundays. Um, so like if you want to force like in this input that you only select days of the week, or like if you're building a scheduling app and you know certain days that are unavailable to book an appointment, like you don't have to customize anything other than providing the date validator, and you let the composable automatically block out those dates. I just think that's super cool. It makes this input validation so much easier if you can never add bad input in the first place. You know, I think that's so cool. I have been a Kotlin fanboy from the beginning. I will not trash Java. I've done it in the past, but I don't like to play this sports team. Like, I don't like to treat tech as like a sports team. Like, I like what I like for specific reasons, but I don't want to trash what other people do because at the end of the day, you build a cool app that your users like. That's what matters. Like, our users need to enjoy things. That's what matters. You did catch me. Welcome, Trax. And you have the nice Oreo sub badge because Prince gifted some subs out earlier and you got one of them. So, shout out to Prince. Give him a thanks if he's still in chat. But that Oreo looks good. Yeah, especially shouldn't hate on people. Um, I mean, I functionally like Kotlin has provided a lot of benefits that I think at the end of the day, they're subjective benefits. Um, like, yes, Kotlin is more concise than Java in number of lines of code, but some people dislike that. Or I think it's also kind of unfair to say that, like, Kotlin's significantly faster given how much like IDE tooling we have to work with a language like Java. Like yes, Java required getters and setters, but you know what did that for me? IntelliJ. Like IntelliJ made it easy to like yes, a data class is a lot shorter, but like IntelliJ made it very easy to make a Java equivalent by just using a handful of keyboard shortcuts. So I don't know, like at the end of the day, like a lot of these benefits they're kind of subjective, and I love all of them. Like I mean, I really do. I love all of the things that I can do in Kotlin that I can't do in Java, but Java worked, and like I said, like users don't know or care. The people who use our products, they have no idea how it's built, and they could care less. And so, like, whatever you use to build a beautiful functioning app, that's what matters. Like, if you make a React Native app and it functions, which, like, I know we love to trash on them, but, like, if it functions, if it does what you need it to do, then, like, I'm not upset. You're out there serving the people, like, filling a need. That's great. All right, let's see how this is doing. So far, so good. So let's do a realistic code review here and see if we missed anything. I like doing this every once in a while, doing a review of the code at the end of the stream because I feel like it's a nice both a recap of everything and a chance to miss anything. So we added stream history. I left. Oh no, I didn't. I put the PR there, which is cool. This is an ID generated file. This is different because I've targeting JDK 17. That's cool. Um, all version bumps up here. We can clean this up. We'll do that in the future. I'd love to look at Gradle version catalogs. Um, Something we can look at in the future, though. Um, yeah, we changed the date utilities. I also need to clean those up as well. Um, yeah, we need to deal with this enabled property. We'll leave that statement in there for now. Um, let's make a GitHub issue for that before I forget. Um, Support disabling TOA date picker input. Uh, right now, we can disable this. Would be nice if we need to block a flow or disable during the loading state. This is the new laptop. So far, so good. Um, I mean, let's be honest. Like, it's faster. Like, and that's what I wanted out of it. It's still the same Mac OS that I'm used to, but it's significantly faster. This project has built and ran lightning fast today. I'm incredibly happy with it. I also had a couple keyboard issues on my old one, even though when I'm streaming, I use an external keyboard. When I'm actually working on the couch, now I don't have those keyboard inputs, and I also always appreciate the chance to start up a new laptop and get rid of all the like just unnecessary bloat that we add, like random applications I install over time and like my gigantic downloads folder. And like that's always going to happen. So I'm not like that upset, but it's kind of nice to have a clean, yeah, the factory fresh feeling. And I've like stayed on top of it. So I've installed a couple things today, like Android Studio and things like that. And I've already like emptied the downloads folder immediately. I was like, you know what? Like the Chrome installer, the this, the that, like we're just gonna throw it in the trash right away. And actually, I did this through JetBrains Toolbox, which I got to plug. If y'all aren't using this, you got to check it out. JetBrains Toolbox is basically a way to easily install all of their IDEs and their different versions, and then have a quick, easy way to access them. So I've already installed all three versions of Android Studio, even though I always use Canary, almost always. But it's nice to have all of them. If I do run into a bug, I have these fail safes and stuff. Um, so let's keep going. We looked at this change. So this, well, this file is definitely removed, and we added the dialog one. That looks cool. And we added the input one. Um, More version bumps. Lots of version bumps. And okay, so that's it. So, assuming this passes, we'll be fine. There is some other work that we need to do in terms of dates on this project. Uh, One being also, if we try to, let's go back. Uh, if we go to like today, if we try to reschedule a task, the app crashes. Um, let's look at why. Uh, so when we reschedule something, um, oops, oh my god, this is passed all the way up, huh? Oh my god. Oh my god, okay. I see. This is all the way back up to our state management. Holy crap, there were a lot of layers there. Uh, the short answer, I will have to find where this code is. But what's happening when we click reschedule is we're trying to launch another date picker dialog, but this using the composed material dialogues library, which we're moving away from because we want to replace this with a new date picker dialog, right? So with that, we can find where that's used, which is in task list content, and clean this up. So material dialog, this is down here. We've got this reschedule task dialog where we launch this material dialog, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what we'll do here is, what we can do is launch, well, let's see. So we've got to do a couple things here. Let's move this down. We've got to do a couple things here. So basically, we're going to say if view state, well, we'll have a task to reschedule, which would be view state task to reschedule. So this is our way of using state to manage whether or not this dialog should appear. I could have a boolean like should show reschedule dialog, but more specifically, I say if there is a task entity that we're trying to reschedule, that means we need to show the dialog. So what we'll do is we'll keep track of that, and we'll say if task to reschedule is not equal to null, then we're going to show a TOA date picker dialog. And what we'll do is we can just say remember date picker state, where the initial selected date millis, will be task to reschedule dot schedule date in millis. I realize this is not going to be UTC, which might be an issue. Ah, let's find out. But it's entirely possible that that might be an issue. In which case, we'll just do something stupid like to local date UTC dot to epoch millis UTC. You know what? I'm just gonna write it. This is ugly, but we're doing it. And this teaches me that in hindsight, all dates should probably be stored in UTC, which could be a cleanup that we do. Um, but I was thinking, hi Sav, how are you? Um, it just is what it is. Okay, on dismiss, we'll call the same on dismissed, um, and then on complete. I kind of want to clean this up too. Uh, but we'll say, okay, if selected date millis are not null, then what we'll do is we'll have our new date will be selected date millis dot to local date UTC, and we'll do on task rescheduled dot invoke uh, task to reschedule new date, and then we get rid of all of this. Um, I was really hungry, but I just sat down with some fish and chips. Oh, that sounds so good. Um, Before I forget, I'm gonna make a new issue that covers this and say move all date management to UTC time zone. Um, this helps avoid some conflicts with the date picker, and specifying this will just allow us to be more consistent all around. Okay, so let's see if rescheduling works. So I'm going to reschedule testing for tomorrow. Task rescheduled. This is good. Undo functionality still works. Just want to test that out. But we'll wait for this to finish. That stays for a really long time. And there it is. It did get moved to tomorrow. So, and then what we'll also do is material dialogues. We can now remove this. We should be able to. And then we're going to remove this dependency altogether. And let's make sure this still builds and runs. Uh, Toolbar and dialogue. Aha! Another place that we show the dialogue. Okay, so let's do something like this. Let's do remember. Oh, this is this thing. If I tap on the date at the top, I launch another one that allows me to jump to a specific date. I'll keep this in here, but this is another thing I want to refactor in the future. Um, but okay, so if should show dialogue, we'll do POA date picker dialogue. Um, uh, Remember date picker state. Initial date millis will be view state dot selected date dot to epoch millis UTC. Opt in here. On dismiss, we will do should show dialogue. That value equals false. Let's rename this. Show date picker dialogue. I feel like this wrapper we're writing right here is also quite similar to how it was used for the task list, that we could probably generate another composable here that that manages this a little better. But we'll come back to that. Um, and so if I also might make that non-nullable. We could definitely clean this up, but let's do that maybe in another PR. Let's just keep getting this working for now. Um, if that's what we want, then we want to do um, on date selected, invoke to local date UTC. Oh, but then we also want to hide this. Okay, so let's run that. God, my neck hurts again. I gotta move this setup. I also wonder, different signature. Why? I also wonder if the composed date picker would allow us to make what the heck? Why are we getting this screen? Shouldn't have gotten the login screen. Um, What was I testing? Okay, that day picker works. Um, let's make sure rescheduling still works. Looks good. And then this date picker still works, so I can like jump to Jan 31st. Okay. So we'll say removing composed material dialogues completely. Okay. So this will be the last of this particular pull request. And then the other thing I would like to do is now we've got some refactoring we want to do. Let's keep writing them down in issues. Move all date management to UTC time zone. We'll say write a wrapper for date picker dialog state management. So in the 160 PR, we use a similar function in task list as well as toolbar to render a single date picker dialog. Um, we can probably introduce another composable that manages this state. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm not worried about the implementation details right now. That's the rabbit hole I just went down in my head. I'm not quite sure how we'll do this, but we'll at least record it. I feel good about that. We've got actually a couple new issues. I got this issue that I felt bad about some information not being available, and so I need to catch up on YouTube, and I'm definitely behind, but I'll respond to that. But we got a couple new issues from this that we can uh, continue to work on. But also, this feels. Sorry, one moment. I might have just caught. Okay, okay, never mind. Looking at a side screen. Okay, so wait, did this push? It did. But this previous build failed on the code coverage step. Why? Render invalid input messages. Oh, okay. Uh, this test failed. Um, let's go find that test. And the reason it failed is probably. Wait, I just noticed this. I'm so sorry because I've been focused on my own screen here. Um, sorry, that the font size shrank again on you, even though I increased it earlier, and that's probably because it only increased for the one file. So let's see if we can find the font. This might be for the whole IDE. Definitely is. So as I jump around files, okay, now we've got big font everywhere. I'm so sorry. I didn't notice it personally. Um, hopefully it wasn't that bad enough that people couldn't follow along and they would have said something, but now hopefully y'all can see what I'm doing better. I'm so sorry. I bumped it up on one file and I didn't realize that it wasn't like changing it for everything. Uh, so I feel terrible, but hopefully it'll be a little better now. Um, anyways, we were looking for this function. This test failed. And basically it failed because we're trying to set an error with the scheduled date. But as I talked about, the date picker allows us to validate this. And so we're never going to show an error message anymore when this happens. So we can actually just remove the test. I am always down for that. Um, maybe we add, or actually, let me go back. Because I just noticed after I removed it that we didn't want to completely get rid of it. Cheers, tracks. Because this test render invalid input messages. So it's checking for the schedule date error and the description error. Um, we'll just remove this one about the scheduled date. Oh, and that means we can get rid of this line altogether. because there is no more scheduled date input error message. I don't know if I broke stuff. So what we can do, I definitely did. Um, but that means we can get rid of that. Um, and we can get rid of this. And we can get rid of this. Um, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connected check. I'm going to run my suite of UI tests to verify this before we push and see how that goes. And yeah, I was actually wondering if we would be able to write UI tests around this date picker, and I don't know. I don't know if we will be able to. Um, but maybe we can find out. We could probably test this with Maestro Studio actually. Um, so maybe we'll do that after we get this running. And I don't know that we'll be able to test it with Maestro Studio, but what Studio will help with also, um, our UI tests are apparently not using the app theme, which is fine, I guess. But uh, what was I saying about Maestro Studio? Not that I would use it to write Maestro tests, but Maestro would be able to tell me if the date picker provides any helpful semantic information, because one of the difficulties of testing the old date picker is there was no information about like the date we were trying to select. Um, and that might be the case in the UI test as well, but maybe we get some new information. Okay, I don't know why you're crashing. Could be any number of reasons, so we'll just see if it works on GitHub Actions. Um, Match new functionality. Um, so here's how we're going to test it. We're going to open TOA. Fully restart it. Have I broken this? Let's run the regular app module again then. Oh, it's running my UI test again. Or still, rather. Stop. Okay. Let's just run the app module again. Did the push happen? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to run this. We're going to open up, we're going to go to say add task and do this. And then what we're going to do from this screen is we're going to do Maestro Studio. I don't have Maestro installed because it's a new laptop. So let's go set that up. Run the following command. Okay, so that might be all we need. Okay, so then if I do Maestro Studio, this is going to run on ADD, and then it will launch. Amazing. So, yeah, all it gives me is the like semantic information about the numbers and stuff. I wonder if Compose does it differently. So here's how we can test that. We could go to like add task content test really quick. And what we can do is let's run these by themselves and just make sure these actually work. And then we can talk about modifying the UI tests. Because because I have no idea if they even work correctly right now. Sometimes I have issues with UI tests on newer devices. Like here, it appears to be frozen. I don't quite know why. Um, uh, let's just wait for this to fail and maybe it'll tell us why. Wait, why did you say it passed? I mean, I guess render initial view state would have passed, but this one would not have. Or, oh, maybe it would have. Because all I'm doing is rendering and asserting. But it's still weird that it's like hanging for this long. Um, that's weird. Okay, so let's try something. So let's do like let's just do this fun test here. Render the day picker. So what we're gonna do is view state will be add task view state dot active. Do I need to give it stuff? Yep. Task input will be task input. Um, that's it. Okay. So we'll do compose test rule dot set content. We're gonna add all of this. Um, and then we'll do something like this. Um, what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna hard code this really quick for testing sake. Um, form click, and then the dialog should be visible. So let's do something like uh, verify this display. But in between that, we're gonna do compose test rule. Print to log dialog UI. So we're gonna print the compose tree when this dialog is up and use that to see if we could find something helpful in the logs that could be used to run some UI test verification. Um, no idea. Don't know if I expect that to work, but we'll find out together. Through the power of friendship. Uh, God dang it, I'm running all the tests again. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know why these are hanging. Um, your guesses are as good as mine. Sometimes I see issues when I run UI tests on super recent app versions. Um, not sure what's up with that. Oh my god. It will be faster for me to stop this and then just run the test that I care about. So I've put this. How does the code review perk work? So I put it in there. No one's ever actually taken me up on it, but I thought it would be fun to like someone could send me code they're interested in, and through that we just look at it together. I provide some feedback and thoughts. I didn't know if I expected. If you want me to look at like, I guess I would ask you like, do you want me to look at a whole project or is it just one file? I should probably flesh out what I mean by that. Um, You finally made it, Pyro. How are you? I hope you're having a great day. Hope your stream went well earlier today. I also tell people like you could just like DM it to me on Twitter or whatever site that you're on that I might also be on, and I will take a look at it. Happy Wednesday. Love the Wednesday frog. Okay. Oh, interesting. There were two nodes. Okay, let's see if our this did fail eventually, but so let's go back to our logcat and let's search dialog UI. Okay, it's not in here. Where would that have ended up? Did it not print at all? Fairly possible, but I don't understand the Wednesday frog. It's basically an internet meme. Um, there's this like I don't know where it started, but Wednesday, my dudes. Is this? I think this is what it is. There's like it's like an old internet meme. Um, why can't I find it? I don't know. Wednesday frog. What are the origins? Knowyourmeme.com. Yeah, it's this classic. Um, Velo, thank you for the follow. I don't actually know if y'all will be able to hear this, but there was this old Vine from this dude who just said like, "It is Wednesday, my dudes," and the Vine took off. And then I don't really know where the frog came into play, um, but I just like I see it on Twitter. Yeah, yeah, Savnos. I don't know where the frog came into play on this Wednesday meme, but there's this Twitter account I follow that like posts this "It is Wednesday, my dudes" meme. This one right here, like every single week. Um, I have no idea if you will be able to hear this. I don't know if the audio will pass through. So let me know if you do or don't hear this, or if it will play at all. Okay, maybe it doesn't play. Anyways, you can look it up. Yes, yes, the post definitely had to have happened today. Um, what's the account? Aha, twitter.com/my dudes. I love this. I love meme Twitter accounts like this. Um, where someone just posts, and I learned because I've seen them talk that like it's not automated because it doesn't come out at the same time every Wednesday. Like there's a person who does this, um, and they will occasionally put in like meme, like they will extend the meme to like it is the first Wednesday of 2023. Um, yeah, and like there's like uh if we go back to like oh right, then in October you've got it is Hollow Wednesday, my dudes, and it's like a skull frog instead. um it's just I love stupid stuff like this, and because I only stream on Wednesday, that's where the frog meme came in the chat, and yeah, I used to play this little video to like hype up the stream about being Wednesday. um There was also this one time that they did like a Tuesday post. Um, ah, where did they? Oh, they did like a Tuesday post that was like, you know how car windows have the little phrase like, "Objects in near are closer than they appear," and so they put like the frog in the side view mirror and posted it on a Tuesday, and I was just like, I love that. I love stupid stuff like that. Um, so yeah, and actually, we have the same emote because it's not like my emote, but like so we have the same emote inside our Slack at work, And people, there's someone every Wednesday morning who posts the frog, and then everyone reacts to it with the frog, and that's just like the Wednesday morning ritual. It's great. It's great. Uh, okay, let's try to figure out this test. I'm still really confused at what's going on my emulator here. I'm also going to wrap this around a theme. Um, is there? Okay. I'm going to do this. I'm going to find the dialogue, and I'm going to print the dialogue UI. But I don't know. I don't know why this didn't get printed in the first place. But let's run it again and let's see if it shows up. You made it on the Twitter notice page. I missed that. Uh, I'm not even. So we're streaming on a brand new laptop today, so I don't even think I was logged into Twitter. No, I'm not. Um, but oh, if you saw it on my phone, that might have been what it was when I was looking at. My sub badges are Android versions. Yes. Um, I need to add more, but yeah, that's what they're going for. Okay, wait. So this is running. We're not seeing. I'm not seeing it in the logs. Um, I don't know if it would be in like the log cat. Oh wait, here we go. We have stuff. Um, so what I was checking for this is like, yeah. So what I wanted to check was to see if there was a way I could. Well, sorry, let me get this off so people aren't reading through my tree too much. Um, the new laptop is great. It's so fast compared to my old one. Um, so what I was checking for, let me recap because I was probably doing a lot of this in my head. Code Guru, thank you for the subscription. Oh my god, for 6 months in advance. Okay, wow. Amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Um, so I was looking to see if I could write some UI tests for adding a task and specifically selecting a date from it. And Wednesday's in the chat. Yes, if you've got the emotes, drop them for Code Guru. Um, I should set up a stream deck for that too. I'm such a scuffed streamer. Like there's so little. I like to think the content of my coding education is great, but then when it comes to like the stream, it's so low tech. I watch other streamers who have like amazing transitions and scenes and extra stuff going on, and like it's not me. Um, but I wanted to see if I could write like a UI test specifically that would also modify the date. Um, but I don't think we can because all the semantics really give us is like the text of the buttons, right? Although we do see that if it's disabled or not. So I can see like over here on the 26th, it's not disabled. But again, like that would also assume in my UI tests whether or not I knew um, what's the word? Uh, like what the current date was and things like that. So if I wanted to write a UI test around the date picker, that might be difficult. So what I'm gonna do is just not.